guys, welcome back to the Playmakers podcast. As you can see, this is not a normal podcast that we have. Me and Topher are sitting right next to each other. We're finally not on Zoom. I'm home back in Florida, and I can't wait to bring to you guys the podcast in person this summer.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a couple weeks off. We did it Zoom throughout the year. Obviously, pandemic combined with going to college at different parts of the country meant we couldn't record in the same venue, get a little bit of a natural rapport going. But, now we're back, both fully vaccinated, both back in Central Florida. So, very excited to get back to work here.
Yeah, well, without further ado, let's get started. So, recently, you guys have heard about the Aaron Rodgers situation with the Packers, right, Topher?
Yeah, that's probably one of the bigger NFL stories of recent memory. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I believe it was the MVP last year, no?
Yep.
Yeah, MVP with the Green Bay Packers. Led them to an NFC championship game against the Bucks. Was it a championship game or the division round?
Championship
game. Yeah, one game away. I believe they were the one seed, I think, as well.
They were the one seed.
Career year, but the year before he was biffed at the organization because allegedly they were biffed at him for drafting a quarterback in the first round, Jordan Love of Utah State. They haven't consistently gotten him the wide receiver help he's requested. They haven't consistently gotten him the offensive line help that he's requested. And there's talk that he could potentially leave the Packers after a standoff with their general manager. So what's your take here? What's going on?
I mean, like you said, the only player he's had in a while is Devonte Adams out at wideout. Obviously, he's a great wide receiver, really talented, probably top 5 wide receiver last year in the league. His route running is impeccable, but one thing is that Devonte Adams wasn't a draft pick. He was a free agent signing.
No, he was a draft pick.
He was a draft pick?
But he was 1 second-round draft pick, 4 years ago?
I don't think he was a draft pick.
2013... Wait, I don't have internet. But yeah, I believe if I'm not mistaken, he was drafted by the Packers in 2014. The winter draft of 2014.
Second, yep. Okay, yeah, second round.
But, I mean, they don't consistently draft help for Aaron Rodgers in premium drafting positions. I mean, when you look back at guys who they do draft offensively, I'm thinking Equinemius St. Brown, who was a third-round pick, if I'm not mistaken, third or fourth-round pick. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he was like a fifth-round pick. Alan Lazard, who was a late-round draft pick. So what they don't prioritize getting help for Aaron Rodgers, instead going defense, instead going most recently, or I guess 2 years ago now, going after Jordan Love. You gotta kind of feel bad for Jordan Love kind of getting thrown into all this. It's not his fault. He didn't ask to be drafted by the Packers.
Yeah, no. The thing is, it's just when you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, who's won MVP twice?
Twice now.
And a Super Bowl. You can't really compete with that,
Yeah.
I mean, Brett Favre had that under his belt, right? But not to the magnitude of Aaron Rodgers, correct?
I mean, yeah. The thing with when you compare the Favre to Rodgers, to the Rodgers to Love situation, is that Favre, I think it's fair to say, was in a relative decline, like a pretty clear decline. Plus, he was never as consistently efficient as Aaron Rodgers is. There's a lot more turnovers, a lot more, if we're being honest, replaceable level of production, even with his high yardage that he would put up. With his amount of turnovers, he could replace that. It's different here because Aaron Rodgers is probably the most efficient player in NFL history, one of the best touchdown to interception ratios you'll ever see. And trying to replace a guy like that is tough to do, especially when he doesn't want to get replaced, and it's kind of actively infuriating him. It's not worth the price here. And
yeah, no, I wouldn't give up the relationship with Aaron Rodgers just to have a backup in time when Aaron Rodgers decides to retire. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, as you can see, obviously not on a decline.
Yeah, no, not even close at this point.
Honestly, I think he can play up to his 40s just like Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, he could. when you think, I think there's 3 quarterbacks I think you can say recently who have, let's go 4, who have aged recently in different ways. Yeah, Tom Brady, who's obviously aged the finest. His game is translated perfectly well. Drew Brees, who really struggled towards the end. And Phillip Rivers, I would also throw in that category, really struggled towards the end. And Peyton Manning, who struggled towards the end as well. But at what point did they fall off? I think, while Tom Brady is obviously the outlier there, I do think when you look at those guys, all started to fall off right at that 40 age. So, Aaron Rodgers, I don't think he has a very big injury history like a lot of those other guys.
I mean, he did have collarbone.
You're right, that
history,
did happen. That happened, what, like 2015 or something?
But I mean, I think he's injured his collarbone twice.
But we're talking. That's not like a huge structural issue.
Yeah,
like
because
a knee or a.
Yeah, I think because Drew Brees broke his arm?
I think that was a shoulder injury.
Or his shoulder early in his career. Phillip Rivers just never learned how to throw the ball properly.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers did have a wonky throwing motion.
That takes a toll on your arm when you're always constantly throwing it sideways.
Yeah, so I think Aaron Rodgers, he is when you look at both history and his individual athletic ability, I feel like he's got at least 2-3 good years, if not more. So drafting a guy last year seems like a bit of an unnecessary reach. And then there's talk that they don't even like Jordan Love, or that Jordan Love's not even that good of a quarterback, and that Jordan Love's a guy that they might already want to move on from. I mean, I think I read somewhere that some coach or scout watched Jordan Love and said he didn't even look like an NFL quarterback.
Oh, man. 3rd MVP.
Oh, 3-time. Okay, excuse us.
3-time MVP.
So that's... It was a bad move, and it fractured the relationship, and...
I mean, I don't think they made a smart...
No.
I mean...
people have already said it. I'll hammer it home. Jordan Love in the first round was one of the worst draft picks of all time, and it continues to get worse by day.
Because there was a stacked wide receiver class last year.
There was.
There was what? Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, CeeDee Lamb. There were
like you can think of a guy
Michael Pittman.
Michael Pittman, Chase Claypool were both 2nd-round guys who had good years last year.
Yeah.
And they went for a quarterback who seems more and more like a reach by day, and everything you ever hear out of the Green Bay camp. What did Aaron Rodgers say recently? Because he said something about his
Aaron Rodgers
relationship.
In a I'm not sure if it was a tweet or if it was in an interview. With my situation, look, it's never been about the draft picking Jordan. Rodgers, it was in an interview. I love Jordan. He's a great kid. We've had a lot of fun to work together. Love the coaching staff. Love my teammates. Love the fan base in Green Bay. An incredible 16 years. It's just kind of about a philosophy and maybe forgetting that it is about the people that make the thing go. It's about character. It's about culture. It's about doing things the right way.
Yeah, so I don't know how you interpret that. I'll give you a sec to pontificate on your thoughts on it. But what I interpret that as is that he's not mad at any of the players. He's not beefing with his teammate. Like, the people on the field.
Never did anything wrong.
He's no problem with any of them. He loves those guys. He's the kind of guy who, even if he has a contract issue or a debate with the front office staff, he's never going to let it show on the field because he has too much respect for the guys out there. But the way that's worded, he's clearly upset with upper management, potentially upset with upper coaching staff, Matt LaFleur and them. So this is a very fractured relationship, to say the least.
I mean, yeah, and you're right. There's whatever they were doing, whatever they were thinking when they picked Jordan Love, something wasn't right. Was it something? There was a miscommunication. There was something that sat right with them that shouldn't have. Because like you said, Aaron Rodgers wouldn't walk out there and let management beef with management affect his game, because he loves the game of football. He's obviously very talented at the game, and like you said, he respects his teammates way too much to just tank. So I think what you said is completely right. There was just something not right when he picked that. So
yeah, and I think it goes even further than just that one move. There's other moves. I think it was last month. There was that report that he was particularly irate when they cut one of the receivers from low on the depth chart or practice squad guys, And I think even in this statement, it's reflected in that, is that he doesn't think that the people in the organization are being treated the way they should, and that the culture is going sour, and that's an upper management issue. So I really don't see this being resolved unless there's a change in upper management.
Sorry about that, guys.
Unless there's a change in upper management where Aaron Rodgers goes. I kind of think that's the standoff, is that either the ownership group will have to make a decision about the GM, or the ownership group / GM are going to have to make a decision about Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, yeah, obviously the teams aren't being players on the team aren't being treated. Because what if that what was it, a young guy? Was it?
Yeah,
a young
it was like a first or second year kind of guy.
First, second year. I mean, you never know what can happen with those kinds of people. I mean, because who came out of the woodwork like that as a receiver recently?
It happens all the time. You see guys it'll take them wasn't, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't Jordan Nelson that kind of guy?
Yeah.
For the Packers, less than 5 years
ago.
Wasn't
Tyreek Hill that?
You're right. Tyreek Hill was like a 5th-round draft pick. Waited a little bit as like a return specialist kind of guy, and has become a legit number 1 guy. You got to treat people with the right way in these kind of organizations. So.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, plus after that NFC Championship game, that call by Matt LaFleur, oh my, that also did not help their case.
Yeah, so we see how fractured the situation is, to say, between Rodgers and Green Bay upper management. Let's say a trade does end up happening before the start of the season.
Bring him to Indy.
You already traded for a quarterback. That's not happening.
I know.
Well, what
a man can wish.
What do you think the asking price should be, or like what do you think a fair asking price is, and who should go for him?
God, 3-time MVP, Super Bowl champion. That's pretty much if I could compare that to 2 other quarterbacks at value, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
So, you want Patrick Mahomes, you got to be willing to pay $500,000 in a contract. Wait, $500 million.
$500 million, yeah.
And on a contract. Tom Brady, you got the best quarterback of all time, so you got to give up everything for a player like that. Especially, I mean, and I wouldn't push it too much because he is on the older side. It is possible that eventually he'll start going downhill, but 2 or 3 years, that's enough for a win now team to take them all the way to the Super Bowl. Like the Raiders, ideal team to go for Aaron Rodgers, because they have players like Darren Waller, they got Josh Jacobs, they got Henry Ruggs, speedster. He'll burn you on the field. I mean, you turn around, Henry Ruggs is gone. Aaron Rodgers has already seen him down the field. He's touchdown, right? And then you got other dudes helping out. You got Hunter Renfrow, who, I mean, for what, 6th round?
Something like that, 5th or 6th, I think.
5th or 6th round pick. That dude, that's a bad man. Okay.
Yeah.
He makes plays, and Nelson Aguilar is not there anymore, is he?
No, I think he signed somewhere. I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah.
But they added Kenyon Drake to the squad.
They did
too.
So,
in the offseason.
They got lots of weapons in Vegas. I will say.
Oh, they signed what's his name from Buffalo.
Buffalo. Who the hell did they get from Buffalo?
John Brown.
Yeah, John Brown. As their okay.
They signed John Brown.
Yeah. So Vegas, I see what you're saying with that. I also see the appeal, big picture for Vegas. I mean, relocated franchise, big, beautiful stadium in downtown Vegas.
Hey, did you hear about the bottle service?
Oh my, the stupid nightclub thing. Oh.
One overthrown ball, or a field goal.
The less said about that, the better. But if you get the reigning MVP of the league, with the other weapons they have, that's a big splash, for a new market team.
And in a city like Las Vegas, that's
it makes you this glitz and glam. Like if you're in Vegas, you're on the Strip, it's all this facade, glitz, glamour. You add in Aaron Rodgers, that's what your team will be. It's this glitzy, fancy team as opposed to what they are now, which is a little workmanlike.
And don't get me wrong, maybe Derek Carr needs a change of scenery too. You know, John Gruden has really milked what has been used of Derek Carr. Maybe Derek Carr just needs a change of scenery to be successful too. Because if you take a quarterback from Green Bay, you got to give one back. And Derek Carr, I think, could definitely be that kind of guy to come in and into a new culture, into a new scene, and maybe thrive. I mean, he's got Devonte Adams, which Devonte Adams has said before. Aaron's my guy, If he leaves, I don't know what I would do here, And with that offensive line, you got David Bakhtiari.
As you're saying, if for the Packers, I think a trade package of
Derek Carr plus
Derek Carr and a couple first round pickers,
maybe a
couple first round
defensive
picks,
player,
something like that. Derek Carr plus draft capital, you kind of have to take that. Mm-hmm. I would take that 100 times out of 100.
Especially because Derek Carr is what, 29, 30?
He's a quarterback in his prime, age-wise. He's a lot better than anyone gives him credit for. A lot better. He's a Pro Bowl caliber guy. He's just played on bad teams that are poorly run for the most part, and he's kind of been hung out to dry. And you put him on a good team, like you said with the Packers, that have all-pro left tackle, that have other good offensive linemen, that have top 3 wide receiver, that have top 5 running back, that have an elite defense. They wouldn't drop off very much, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no. In fact, I think an Aaron Rodgers loaded Raiders team would be enough to make a Super Bowl and win.
All right, so let's spin that. Let's say it's basically
because everyone says, "Oh, Aaron should go to the Broncos. Aaron should go to what was another one? Miami." No, I mean those places they have. The coaching staff in Miami, first of all, they're still working their way up. They're doing a really great job. I mean, I don't want to discredit them for the work they've done. They brought in Tua. They had Ryan Fitzpatrick supporting Tua the entire year. They played really well. They played really good football, considering what happened the previous year. In Denver, they don't have a refined coaching staff either.
Not really.
They had who was Peyton Manning's coach?
That was wild. That was a couple regimes ago. Who even was the coach? Was that still John Fox? I don't even remember.
Anyway, you need a coaching staff that's able to handle a quarterback of that caliber. Because yes, they have what? Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler. They have Melvin Gordon. They have Noah Fant, who, in my opinion, is one of the best tight ends in the league. Very underrated. And they have a defense like that. I mean, that's a great team. But they need something to... They need to be disciplined. And they need to make sure that they can be consistent, because I don't see any consistency in this unit. Oakland is the perfect spot for Aaron Rodgers, theoretically. Because John Gruden is an experienced coach.
That's true. Yeah, I agree. It'd probably work out pretty well for Aaron Rodgers.
The thing is, the Raiders, I'd take over the Raiders with Aaron Rodgers. I'd take over the Broncos or Dolphins with Aaron Rodgers to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I just don't. To be honest with you, I just don't think it'd be wise business sense from Las Vegas to invest that heavily in a quarterback who's 37, no matter how good he is. I feel like it's a
suicide.
I feel like it's a dangerous kind of game to play, no matter how successful. I mean, there's rumors like the similar kind of thing, but with the Browns, right? Like they trade Baker Mayfield in draft capital. Like I see the appeal, and you might even win a Super Bowl out of it, but the long-term health of your franchise is in serious danger for that brief win-now window. And I can make an analogy to this. If you look in soccer, if you go to Italy, you see what Juventus did. They brought in Cristiano Ronaldo when he was 34, 33 out of Real Madrid for like $100 million. This huge transfer, this huge, massive, one of the biggest contracts in the history of world sports, still, despite him being in his mid-30s. And theoretically, that move is the kind of move that puts you over the top and you win the Champions League, but they haven't. And it's failed. And now they're looking at a terrible economic issue because they have this huge, giant contract they have to support on a player who, while still great, is in a noticeable decline. So despite how good it looks on paper and like that potential to be elite right now, the long-term damage that this kind of championship chasing hunt can do for you if you're giving up a serious asset like a talented younger quarterback is really not worth it. But for Denver to spin it, I don't think there's anything they can give up that would damage them in the same way. So if there's any team that should aggressively pursue Aaron Rodgers in the next couple months, it's Denver for me. And I know it might not work as well as Vegas, and I understand. I'd probably agree that if he was to go of the teams that have been linked to him, that Vegas is up there towards the top in terms of how it would fare on the field. But I think Denver is the one that makes most sense for all parties, except maybe Green Bay. Green Bay might get gypped out of it, but
Yeah, I mean, Green Bay. There's no way he's not leaving. There's no way he's leaving Green Bay.
you don't think he'll actually get traded?
I don't think he's gonna get traded. I think Matt LaFleur really just needs to have a talk with him and be like, "Hey, I messed up. I know you are the best quarterback in the league right now. He's MVP, okay, everyone. I said it. Reigning MVP. But we're sorry that we kicked the field goal. We're sorry that we took you off. I mean, we shouldn't have done that because, put the ball in his hands. I mean, obviously the chances of scoring are less, but in the hands of a guy like Aaron, he's been there before. That's what that man does. Like he has done that. Like he is that dude.
He is. He is the kind of guy you just gotta let him make the plays. If you asked me this 3 weeks ago, I say no doubt he's not coming back. It's been 3 weeks. Situation's kind of tamped down a little bit. I don't think he'll realistically get traded. I do still think there is an outside chance of at least a temporary retirement or retirement threat. But I'm on the camp that I think I'm probably leaning towards your camp if he's probably going to stay in Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, they got so close too.
They did. They're still.
They should have. They were favorites in that game.
It's true.
They were favored to win that game. The Buccaneers simply just played better football than them that day.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. Which team played better during the game?
Yeah. They're still very much. You're right. They're very.
And
much
I'm not
still
saying that Aaron Rodgers played bad that game. He had a rough first half, but they bounced back in the second half. They had a chance to win the game. It was all of Matt LaFleur's fault, I would say. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, we got to move on. We know that this situation is still unrolling. We'll keep you guys updated, but Topher, you want to lead us into the NBA playoffs?
Yeah, so past couple weeks since we last did one of these bad boys, the NBA playoffs started. We had the play-in tournament, which was pretty good fun. I think it was exciting basketball for those 4, 5, 6. I don't know. I don't remember how many games actually happened through the course of the play-in tournament, but it was exciting basketball. Added some stakes. I think we can agree it was a good idea, but
at first we were skeptical. But
yeah, and I think before we move into the playoffs main, I think the big takeaway is definitely probably the Warriors not getting the job done, and I guess shout out to Memphis. It's not just the Warriors lost. It's Ja Morant went crazy.
Ja Morant really did go crazy.
The young Grizzlies
I mean,
proving that they're a real ball club out here.
and you can't blame it on Steph because
No, it was not Steph's fault.
Steph dropped not 39 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Like,
Yeah, no, it was not his fault.
That's Steph doing Steph things.
Yeah, he still did his job. It was just.
But it's just Ja Morant really dominated the team.
Ja Morant, the rest of the young Grizzlies, they're just a better team on that night, and they're in the playoffs. And I believe they stole Game 1 against Utah, right?
They did
last night, as we're recording this.
No, not last night.
Or
Sunday
the other night, excuse me, the other night.
122 to 109.
Yeah, so I guess
is Spider playing?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I don't know if he is.
So I guess let's.
I mean, we obviously can't. No, he didn't.
Yeah, so.
I think he's still out with that knee injury.
Yeah, it was a knee or ankle.
Leg
it was
injury.
some kind of lower body injury. But all right, let me spin it back to you. Of these 8 playoff series, which one excites you the most? Like, what's the must-watch playoff series right now?
Must watch. Wow. I mean,
because there are a few really.
I'd say the Hawks and the Knicks.
Yeah.
2 very unexpected.
Yeah. So I think Game 1, the Hawks won that. It wasn't technically a buzzer beater, but that late game clutch shot from Trae Young. There's some bad blood in that game too.
Really is
very much playoff basketball, which is the fun part. You know, that added intensity you get when the games mean more. It's not just going through the motions. It means something. It matters.
I think we have it right here.
Yeah. So the first game Hawks took, it was the Trae Young show.
It was definitely the Trae Young show. I would say. Did you see the New York mayor?
Yeah. Call a shot at him.
Trae Young is a bad man. Okay, that dude got ice in his veins. And you saw Lemon Pepper Lou. He said, "Don't worry about passing the ball. You just play the game. You just win the game, man."
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what he did too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I was talking to you. We were talking about the Nuggets series, which is another.
Exciting one.
It's gonna be really good. It's already 1-1. Both teams, Portland and Denver, grabbed a game, but you know, Trae Young is the kind of like guy you just put on the perimeter, give him the ball, and just say, "Make a play, give me a basket."
And I think we talked about that too. Dame.
Yeah.
Dame time.
Yeah.
8 or 9 threes in the second quarter? No, it was 8 threes in the first half. 32 points.
Yeah.
He scored 6 of those threes in the second quarter alone. It was insane.
Yeah. And to jump back on the Trae Young, like he's shown he's the kind of guy in the playoffs. Just you need a basket, give him the ball, let him make a play, and he'll do that. So I'm gonna say another couple playoff series. I actually think all of them are pretty good. I mean, the worst one's probably like Nets, Celtics, Wizards, Sixers. Probably those two.
Yeah.
But everything else.
Yeah, no, I personally like the Lakers and the Suns.
Yeah, I think
Chris Paul versus LeBron James.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's gonna be a great one. I know Chris Paul did pick up a knock, but hell, even if he's injured, they still have weapons there. They still have big time players.
They have Dre Ayton. They got D-Book.
Devin Booker is another one of these guys who is a true alpha scorer. And that's the most important thing for me in a big playoff moment.
Yeah, but with CP3 out.
It hurts. It undeniably hurts. I'm just saying it's not uncompetitive without CP3. But I think the big one for me is actually
because it was a tight game.
Yeah.
And without CP3, that team doesn't have the veteran leadership that they need.
True. All right, but to my main point after this little bit of a tangent here is that I think the rematch series between the Clippers
and the
Mavericks is super compelling.
I love it.
I mean, because if you look at just from a narrative perspective,
I think they play tonight, right? You guys can see that up there.
So they do play on
10:30.
They do play on the time we're recording this, but I mean, look at the narrative perspective. This is kind of the make or break.
Because guys, we're recording this on Tuesday.
Tuesday afternoon.
Tuesday afternoon, May 25th. So,
but The thing is, the Clippers, they've had this core now for 2 years, right? It's been kind of disjointed, and it's not all their fault.
I mean, and they added Rondo,
Yeah, but
who was part of that championship.
the main
Lakers
point
team.
I'm trying to make here is that the whole Kawhi Leonard Paul George experiment has to start yielding actual results when it matters.
I personally think that experiment there failed the moment they lost last year.
And then this is the time.
If
This is it.
If they don't beat the Mavericks in this, if they don't make the Western Conference championship, that Kawhi trade and that Paul George trade was officially a bust.
Yeah, I mean I completely agree. I mean, if they don't get out of this round, then what was the point in making those moves? There really wasn't, and especially when you look now.
And don't get me wrong, I love Ty Lue. Ty Lue that's his name? Ty Lue? Lee?
Tyronn Lue?
Ty Lue, yeah. He's a great coach. I mean, he sat behind who? Doc Rivers for a while? He sat in he's been their assistant coach for a while.
For a little bit, I think.
He was also part of
He was the coach in Cleveland. With LeBron.
You know, even though it's his first year with a head coaching job, he's done really well. I mean, they finished the regular season 47-25. Obviously, that's in part for the players, but you also got to give a hands up, round of applause for Ty Lue, who's really stepped up when Doc Rivers moved on to Philly.
Yeah, but whatever plaudits you give, again, this team was not built to be good. It was built to be the best. They didn't spend all that money to get Kawhi Leonard. They didn't trade away super valuable assets, most notably Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, to get Paul George for nothing. You know, and as those assets that they traded become more and more valuable, Paul George needs to deliver. And in Game 1, he didn't. We'll see what happens the rest of this playoff series. This is a must-win for the Clippers. And then flip side for Dallas, they started off the season really, really bad. And then Luka MVP'd their way.
Look at Luka. Oh, my goodness. He's averaging 30... No, that's the... Hold on. No, yeah, that's Luka. He's averaging 30 points, 11 assists. The Clippers, and, I mean, they can't seem to stop him. I mean, if Luka wins this series, obviously there's more players than Luka just on the Mavericks, but if Luka and the Mavericks win this series, what does that make Luka?
Oh, easily top 5 player in the world, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, outside of LeBron, probably still. Giannis.
I still think, even though LeBron's old, he's the best player in the world.
Yeah, I mean, still got LeBron. I mean,
actually, no, that's not true. Steph Curry was the best player in the world this year.
I mean, Luka's on the periphery of the conversation, but you know, if he continues to put up these kind of numbers in big playoff moments, carrying a less than elite Dallas team past what should be a contender in Los Angeles, that certainly makes him one of the top players in basketball. Surely.
Yeah.
Even though he already is, but that's just that extra added step already.
Yeah, no, because he's already MVP level.
Yeah, he is, which is crazy because he's still only like 21, 22, something like that.
I mean, the youngest player to ever win MVP.
Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose, really?
When he was like 22, 21 in 2011 with Chicago.
You think he could do that next year?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not at all out of the realm of possibility.
Why do you think he wasn't considered part of the MVP run this year?
I think he
was at some point.
He was, and you know, it's probably on like that Julius Randle tier of like one great player on a kind of okay team. I mean,
yeah, but look at the way they started, and look at what they're doing now.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the reason why he's not considered. Is just team's just not good enough, and he's not. While he has been great.
Then what do you call Steph Curry?
Exactly. I'm about to get to that. Is that you have to be like a whole nother planet of great to get MVP shout without being on a good team. You know, think Damian Lillard last year, think Steph Curry this year, and I do think Doncic has kind of gotten left out unfairly sometimes in the conversation. Maybe I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's just because Dallas is not a premier brand in basketball. In Dallas, the city is not a premier brand outside of the Cowboys. So maybe that's why he's kind of been left off. But
Okay,
Yeah.
but come on, Dallas is the premier. Dallas is the Mavericks are Dallas. Not the Cowboys don't get that title anymore.
I mean, I'm not sure in terms of being good.
Yes, but in terms of actual
In
popularity,
actual popularity, it's the Cowboys
it's the
100 times out of
Cowboys
100.
times out of 100.
In terms of being good, I don't know. Maybe the Stars, are they still good? Hockey people, let me know. FC Dallas are kind of good sometimes. But I mean, as far as being actually successful, Luka's probably the biggest athlete in Dallas.
And let's talk about the dumb ones for a second. What do you think about the Brooklyn Nets and the Celtics? I mean,
Celtics.
they don't have Jaylen Brown, right? Jaylen Brown went out.
They've had weird injury
late.
issues all year. Jason Tatum's been really, really good for long stretches, really starting to become an alpha superstar, which is always fun to see young players rise to that level. But, in general, Celtics are completely overmatched as far as I'm concerned. The Nets have 3 of the 10 best players in the world right now. At least 3 of the top 15, depending on how highly you rate Kyrie Irving. And all 3 of those guys are guys who can single-handedly win you a game by themselves. And no other team can match that. No other team is really all that close to that.
You think they're going to win the championship?
They'll probably win the championship unless I see something else that proves me wrong. But they're clearly the favorites, for without a doubt.
I think I've talked about this before. I want LeBron to win. I want LeBron to silence all the haters. He has already proved that he's the best player of all time, tied with Michael Jordan. But I want everyone to believe it.
Yeah.
Because he deserves it. He's worked his ass off, and he still gets so much hate. I mean, which is, it's part of the game. Like, it's part of sports.
It is part of just sports in general, yeah.
But he doesn't get the full respect he deserves. Like Michael Jordan, like Tom Brady, like, who else? Who else is up there,
It's a very...
Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant hasn't even won a championship since he was part of a super team.
Yeah. Certainly, the already storied legacy of LeBron could only be helped. See, what are other playoffs? All right. What do we think? What's a series? Pick one series where you think the lower seed wins, without a doubt. Lakers? Not even a question?
Sorry, once I saw CP3 go down with an injury, I was like, Lakers all the way.
They did lose game 1, though.
They did, but they were tight the whole way. Like you said, Trailblazers could pull it off.
Very well could.
I just want to see the Wizards beat out Philly just so I can see Joel Embiid cry again.
Oh, that's the 1-8, so what they play the Knicks-Hawks winner.
Yeah, I want the Knicks to win.
Oh, dude, I'd love the Knicks to win.
Get Julius Randle up there.
Could you imagine how funny it would be if the Knicks made the final? It'd be really funny.
It'd be funny, but, let's not go that far.
A Knicks-Nets Eastern Conference final.
Yeah.
There we go. Now we're talking.
Well, we should finish off with thinking who's going to win Have they already announced that?
To my knowledge, the only award that was actually
Sixth
announced
man.
was Jordan Clarkson winning the Sixth Man, which I personally probably agree with. I know he tailed off a little bit towards the end of the year, but just overall numbers, what he provided as a bench scoring spark plug, which is pretty much all the Sixth Man of the Year award is who scores the most points off the bench. He probably deserves it.
So I think MVP should be Steph.
Why?
He really pulled that play-in tournament out of his ass. All him. Career year, too.
That's fair.
Joel Embiid didn't do that.
I mean, as far as like individual dominance,
Is he the other one?
I think it was. If I'm just thinking off the top of my head, not
Joker.
looking at a thing, it was
Is Joker, Steph, and
Curry, Jokic, and of those 3,
Embiid just has a really good team around him.
yeah, I mean, it depends what you consider the MVP. Is it the best player on the best team? Is it the best individual season? Like, it's really a.
I think it should be best individual player.
And then, but what do you value as best? The guy who scores the most points, the guy who can do the most. Like, what's?
I mean, Steph did the most.
But I mean, as far as like overall,
I mean, Joker did the most too. I mean, how many triple doubles?
because that's what I'm saying. As far as like overall impact on the game, I mean, Jokic is this weird, unique enigma that is a physical
He's a
inside
center who can shoot.
He's a physical.
And he can do everything else too.
He's a physical inside presence who's also a top class playmaker who also has range, which is weird. I don't know if I like it, but I really think I like it. It's just weird, and not really a thing you see. And even
I shouldn't like it, but I do.
And even Embiid, you know, a traditional post guy, a little bit of range, and he's also a much bigger defensive presence than either of these guys. When I look at Steph, I see an unbelievable flamethrower scorer who can pretty much get a bucket anytime he wants, no matter what, from anywhere, at any time, against anybody.
I bet you if he shot it from this 3-point line, he could make it into the basket
Almost
on
certainly.
the other side of it. Like, he wouldn't have to. He could just.
Yeah. He is that kind. But you throw in the fact that his team didn't even make the playoffs proper. You throw in the fact that, you know, he's not like a defensive ace or anything like that. Then, to be honest with you, I kind of gotta go towards Jokic, who in my mind does the most on a team that's pretty good. You know, that's what it would be for me.
So, guys, we actually have a question. If you guys want us to stream old college football games over the summer on Twitch, we can. We'll set up a poll on Instagram. I'll set up a poll on Instagram. See if you guys want it. We want to do that because we think it's a really fun idea, because who doesn't love old college football? We really appreciate all the support, and thank you for understanding that, you know, for these past few weeks we've been trying to get home and fixing everything up. So,
Yeah.
Topher.
Thank you guys for sticking with us here.
Well, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you, and take care. Stay safe.